Hey there, how are you today? My name is Dana Damara, and you've landed on Astrocast. This is your weekly forecast from December 11th through the 17th. Now, first things first about this week, I just want to talk a little bit about the theme. I know I've called this theme out before, and I bet if I looked into the archives, it's probably around this time of the year. And the theme is Dream Big. And I'm going to say why. It's because the big event of this week is the new moon in Sagittarius. Now, if you didn't listen to the recording for the new moon in Sagittarius, I invite you to go back and listen to it. But there's a bunch of other transits that are really powerful with this new moon, and I want to share them with you. So when we have a new moon, and again, I invite you to go back and listen to the new moon. When we have a new moon, we have an opportunity to hit the reset button, right? We can hit the reset button anywhere in our life where we feel like we want to turn our focus towards, right? So that we have 13 of these a year, which is just amazing, right? And the one at the end of the year in Sagittarius is always beautiful because Sagittarius is all about adventure and really looking at how we can use the gifts that we have in this life. And this week, Jupiter is really active, and actually the moon is really active. So with Jupiter where it is, Jupiter's going to expand everything. Now, let me just remind you before I get too far, and I forget to say this and put this out there, Mercury is also going into retrograde this week. Goes into retrograde right when the new moon happens, right around when the new moon happens. So keep in mind that anything that we're doing right around this day, we want to really focus on all of our I's and T's, so to speak, right? So make sure your communication is clear and concise and really in alignment with what it is that you desire. Okay, because this whole week is all about really asking yourself, what is it that I desire? Not what should I be doing right now, but what do I desire? What makes me happy? And let me just say that it may not make sense. Like if you were to write it down on paper, you might be like, this makes absolutely zero sense. How is this even going to happen? It doesn't matter. Sometimes we get into our head, right? And we just follow what's going on in our head instead of what's going on in our heart. So I want you to pay attention this week to where maybe you stop yourself, maybe where you get frustrated with external circumstance, that's Mars, and maybe where you're pushing the river as opposed to allowing yourself to surrender to actually what's coming up for you, right? So just a couple of little aspects that are happening. Remember, Mercury goes into retrograde, but it also sextiles Venus this week, which really makes you more inclined to tap into your creativity. It awakens this sense of abundance and value and integrity. So listen to that, right? I talked a little bit about this too in the new moon report, and I talk a little bit about how Mars is actually conjunct very, very close to the sun and the moon. Mars is going to create some aggression. Mars is going to be like, we're headed to the end of the year. This is what I want. This is my value. This is what I deserve. There's a difference between knowing your value and like, this is what I deserve. Whenever I hear deserve, I feel like that comes from an ego place instead of just knowing and understanding, like, this is what is resonant for me, right? And I want you to know too that Jupiter is really supportive this week. Jupiter is trining the moon, and creates optimism and good luck and an awareness of the true abundance in life. And so use this energy this week to dream big, to not force anything, to not stake your claim and say, this is what I call in for the new year. Be open. And then remember, Mercury's retrograde through the end of this calendar year. So be open. Be open to see how things are unfolding. Be clear, but be open. I hope this is helpful. I really do. Again, I can't say it enough. If you haven't listened to the new moon report, please go back and listen to it. But dream big. Get out of the shoulds. Like should, I used to say in teacher training, right? When we use the word should, all we're doing is shoulding all over ourselves. And that is no good for anybody. Listen to what it is that you want, what you desire, and go from there. Okay? Okay. If you want your chart read, reach out to me. Just go to danademaro.com. Happy to do it for you. You can book a session and pay for it right online. If you just want a little bit of information about basic astrology, go to myastrocast.com. If you put in your email, you get a bunch of emails from me that just talk a little bit about astrology and the basics. Those of you who really love astrology, 2024, my astrology course is coming up in person in Encinitas. Stay tuned for that. I'll have dates and all the information for you really soon. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.